Welcome back everybody, and today I'm going to give you 5 different tips for Inktober. I know we're right in the middle of it, but I believe that these tips can not only apply to Inktober but as well to your general art. So let's get to it. So the 5 tips that I'm talking about, right, the 5 tips. Tip number 1, brainstorm. Like, write it out. There's no need to keep it all in your head. Tip number 2, don't worry about it. So what does it mean not to worry about it? If there is a small mistake, you should just simply move on. You can try to correct it, make it look better, but I believe that, especially if you're a perfectionist, it's alright to have some errors, especially in a marathon one like Inktober. You can't focus on the mistakes or else you're going to be here, you're gonna burn out, and you're gonna crash and die. My third tip is that you should keep the drawing simple. Or as my comp sci teachers say, keep it simple, silly. Kiss. You should keep it simple. Why? Well, Inktober is a long it's a long trend, alright? If you're planning to follow along, you are going to be burnt out if you do a lot. You should keep your idea simple, the coloring simple. If you have the time, that is, to go ham at it, that's wonderful, but I'm pretty sure if you're listening to this, you're probably struggling keeping it up right now. So that's one thing. Just keep the drawing simple, easy, and it should be fast. On to the 4th tip. My 4th tip, and I highly recommend you follow this one, is to experiment. So the whole point of Inktober obviously is to be consistent, and you should take advantage of the fact that you're drawing every day or more than you would to experiment. Try new things. It will be fun, first of all, so that way you don't burn out. And my last tip, share it. If you have a drawing and you are looking for improvement or perhaps a little validation, which, in small doses never hurts anybody, I believe you should share it around. You have a reason for drawing every day. Of course, there's going to be some not so good drawings, and for those, you don't have to share it, but you're going to be surprised by the amount of reception you're going to get. You're hardly going to find people who will outright hate it, or at least not like it. It'll allow you to receive constructive criticism. Those are my 5 tips. Now we should see, I'm gonna apply all these tips to my next drawing. So what we're doing today for Inktober, it's day 11 and 12. I wasn't able to do Friday, which is fine, I just couldn't do it. I was tired. So what my idea here today is actually combine the 2 prompts. Day 11 was snacks and day 12 was remote. Alright, so immediately off the bat, we got to do a lot of brainstorming. These are some wild and wacky prompts, and due to me missing out one day, I'm gonna have to combine the 2 into one single drawing today. So let's see how we can brainstorm. So snacks, right? What about snacks? Snacks like chips, salsa, chips and salsa. What would you have as a snack? I would have a sandwich as a snack. Sandwich. What would I have? Well, just in general, junk food. One of my favorite twists while doing Inktober is not to simply draw anything, because Halloween is upon us. And I feel like if I don't draw anything spooky during Halloween, I kind of just miss my moment, if you understand what I'm saying. Which is why this should have an ultimate twist of being spooky. How is food scary? There is some cliches like the eyeball, right? Eyeball food. Like, oh no, it's a eyeball and soup. Let's move on to the next prompt, remote. How can we make that scary? What comes to our mind? it controls the TV. Well, we know what it is. It's just a physical block that controls things from far away. I kind of have an idea how to combine these two. How would you combine these two? My initial thought is someone watching a cooking show. Obviously it's horror theme and it's just a normal remote. But I feel like we can do better with the remote, so let's explore the idea some more. What about a remote? Perhaps the remote is like interdimensional. So every time you flick the channel, it actually flicks the world around you. I could keep it simple though, and just have someone be watching TV. Yeah, I think I might just keep it simple then. Just have someone watching TV, and their TV showing some spooky snacks. This man has a bowl of fingers. Yeah, I like that idea. Now the next step is just to create a little thumbnail, but I'm just gonna sketch it directly onto the paper. So this is where the second tip comes in. Don't worry about it, especially here in the sketching phase, because sometimes we get a little bit too preoccupied with our sketches that we can't really proceed into the next steps. And I say that would be fine for the most part if it wasn't for the fact that you would be doing this every day for the next 31 days. And I find that to be an incredibly unsustainable practice or habit. I feel like once you do have more time though, I think it's completely acceptable. This isn't an excuse to rush. Rushing and not overthinking are two different things. Again, we're keeping this drawing rather simple here. There's not a lot going on right now. We're not thinking too much. We're just keeping this a simple man enjoying his TV, with the twist being that the food that he's watching for his cooking show is just a little bit horrifying. Just a little bit. You are allowed to have ideas while drawing, because sometimes that's what makes it better. And in this case, I decided that the person is eating some finger salad chips. You know, you dip your finger in some ketchup and you chomp on it while you're watching some questionable cooking shows in the middle of the night. You know what if we have a serial killer in his hallway? Yeah, I kind of like that idea. This might be a little bit too crammed of a drawing, but I'm gonna say it's acceptable. Alright, my idea is updated to crudely include the remote. Here's the remote, by the way. He's gonna change this man's entire his entire channel, and we're gonna experiment a little bit. After all, it wouldn't be fun if we haven't tried anything new. It's been a while, but I don't know if you know what this is. It's a dip pen, typically used for calligraphy, but I also heard it's quite well for line art. Kinda wanna try this. Oh no, the Indiana ink. when inking, I think it's very important to keep my second tip in hand, to not worry about it. If you make a mistake, it's not going to end your artistic career. Again, I do highly recommend getting gouache for this. Gouache is just that helpful, man. Like, it makes your life a little bit more easier. Anyways, a perfect example of don't worry about it right now is this fist right here. I'm just not gonna care about it. I might fix it if I really think it's that much of an issue. But for a lot of times, especially when you ask people, which again, why I recommend for the fifth tip to share your art, you're gonna realize not a lot of people notice these small errors unless you're doing this for a grade, in which case maybe your teacher might find it, might dock you some points. Oh, need more ink. Oh, that's a mistake. I did not mean to do that. Oh, I made it worse. Complete mistake on my part. I'm not gonna panic here. I'm not gonna be like panicky. I'm just gonna work on a different part and think about how to fix it. If I need to fix it, I might just make this like a cool mouth. So far, this pen, it might be the nib. I might have kind of messed it up during some part of its lifetime. Alright, almost done with the inking. Alright, for the most part, I'm done with the very basic inking. There were some issues along the way, as you might notice. Some very noticeable Indiana ink splotches. And I might fix those. Some of those helped me come up with ideas I would not have thought of. Oh boy. Oh. No, the Indiana ink is splotching all over me. No. Indiana ink is so troublesome, especially once you get on your clothes. I could perhaps use less troublesome inks, but then it wouldn't be the same. One way to keep your drawing simple during Inktober is by thinking in just solely black and white. So this is gonna be your best friend, the chunky chisel tip permanent marker. These are inexpensive, you can find them anywhere, and they just help you. If you're afraid of using permanent marker, then you might want to sketch out where you're gonna make it dark. Oh, hopefully this says, oh, I forgot that it needs to dry. Alright, I am not having a good day, folks, here. I keep forgetting stuff. It's been a bad week. And this drawing, if I'm being honest, is being a complete disaster. It's just working against me. Which is why it's alright. You just take these accidents in strides. Just focus on what you can do to make it better. Question is, what to do now? Anyways, I'm gonna let that dry. I'll be back in a moment. I'm back, everyone. Again, I might have to speak a little bit louder. Unfortunately, someone's doing the laundry, which is, you know, something you're gonna have to ignore. Obviously not the greatest quality of paper to handle this with. I think it's fine. Alright, for the most part, I feel like this is done. The only thing or small detail that I would like to add is probably have this dry and probably make it a little bit darker. Anyways guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Hopefully the 5 tips about brainstorming, not worrying about it, keeping it simple, experimentation, and just simply sharing your work was of any help. Perhaps it was new, and if you wouldn't mind, please liking and subscribing to my channel, please. That would be very much appreciated. Alright, goodbye.